Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to those of you who reached out to me last week about restitution. Those of you who bought my books, tweeted at me, messaged me, or sent me nice comments and emails. Your support and encouragement means more than you know, and my face actually still hurts from smiling so much last week. You guys are absolutely incredible, and I am so lucky to be sharing this journey with so many amazing people, so thank you. Today I want to talk about something that I get asked quite often via email and on social media, and that is what my current writing process looks like. I'll talk about how my writing process is structured, what sort of time frame or timeline I give myself, and things I've learned that might add value or help you along in your writing journey. Quick disclaimer, if you want more videos on coming up with story ideas, balancing multiple writing projects, character mapping, world building, and outlining, please check the description box below. I have made videos on all of these topics. If you check out that description box, you can click on the link that you want to learn more about. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this video and talk about my writing process. Real quick, I do want to say that there are two phases in my writing process, and I also do have an editing and a publishing process, but for the sake of this video and the sake of time, I want to just talk about my writing process today. So there are two phases, if you will, in my writing process, the pre-writing phase and the actual writing phase. So let's start with phase one, which is the pre-writing phase. If you've followed me for a while, then you know that I am very type A. So the need to plan, prep, and schedule everything before I begin writing is literally written into my DNA. This pre-writing phase includes sub-phases, things like the inception of ideas, character development, world building, and outlining. I consider all of these part of the pre-writing phase. Let's start with the inception of ideas. Okay, I always like to have one project that I'm fully focused on, but I still keep my mind open to allow for other ideas for book projects. If I have an idea for a book, but I'm in the middle of something or I'm on the road, I normally pull out my phone and use the notes function to capture that idea. That way it doesn't get lost in my day-to-day shuffle of tasks. If I'm at a desk, then I'll grab a notebook and a pen and write it down. I always have ideas for future projects and additional books waiting on the back burner until I finish whatever main project I'm working on. Brainstorming ideas for my books can take anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks. It really just depends on how complex the plot is and the quality of ideas that are coming to me. So usually once I have all of my ideas written down, I get really antsy and want to start working on one right away. Sometimes I'll come up with a story idea in 1 or 2 days and start working on it immediately that next day. If it takes a little longer, then it is what it is, but I always start the next sub-phase immediately after my idea well starts to run dry, and that is character mapping. All right, so I have a project, I pick the one that I most want to work on, and normally for me, the way I pick them is it's the one I feel most inspired about or the one that I'm really excited to get working on. That's how I choose it. I just kind of go with the flow in the moment, and I'll begin to flesh out my characters. I tend to do this on a large piece of paper where I'll write down my characters' names, what they look like, their backgrounds, histories, personalities, and so on. Oftentimes, I already have a visual in my head as to what my characters look like, so I'll skip the writing down part completely and go to the Blue Robot Avatar Creator, which is online and it's a free service, and I'll create my characters that way. You can find the link to this service in the description box below. Not long after that, if not the same day, I will start mapping out my world. If it's a fantasy book, then I'll draw a rough sketch of the land, oceans, and regions, and jot things down about the magic system, political system, technology, and so on. This subphase also takes a couple of days to a week and ends up being a working map, which means that I can change or adjust it as needed. I've learned that when I begin writing my story, I end up changing and adding and cutting things out, especially in the world, so I make sure I keep myself open to the possibilities. Normally by this point, I'm feeling a little burnt out, so I will take a day or two to just relax and do things unrelated to writing. Whether that be working out, hanging out on the boat, weather permitting of course, or meeting up with friends. After a couple of days of relaxing, I'll sit back down at my desk and start the next sub-phase of my pre-writing phase, which is outlining. I do this in Word. I do not use Scrivener because I haven't taken the time to learn it yet, and I'll usually start with a very basic outline. Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, or beginning, middle, and end. And I'll write all of that out. If there are any extraneous details or subplots or other ideas I might be having, I'll go ahead and write them in there and guess where in my outline those certain events would happen. I tend to work on the beginning first and how I want my story to open, normally because I brainstorm that and that's what tends to come to me first. But then I'll actually move to the end and work backward. It may seem odd, especially since I'm type A, so you would think I would need to do things for my outline in chronological order, but for some reason with outlining, that's not the case. This may not work for you, but it's something that does work for me, and it ensures that I have enough detail or enough filler, if you will, in between my chapters to get from the beginning to the middle to the end. My outline is also a working document, and it's something that is adjusted and changed a lot throughout my writing process. I view my outline as a guide, not something that is set in stone. If you've been watching my channel for a while, then you know I actually used to use index cards for the outlining phase. But I've come to find that after writing 4 books, I seem to have improved with keeping my plot points and ideas organized in my head, so I just use a Word doc now. It takes me anywhere from 3 to 5 days for me to feel like I've gotten my outline to a point where I'm ready to move on to the next phase, and that next phase is the actual writing phase. Just for reference, the entire pre-writing phase and all of its sub-phases normally takes me 1 to 2 weeks to complete. Sometimes 3 if I'm really cramped for time. It just depends on what my schedule looks like. Then it's time to move on to phase 2, which is the actual writing phase. So now that I finished the pre-writing phase, I can move on to phase 2, which is to actually write this darn book that I've put so much time and effort into already. Honestly though, this is my favorite phase, which may seem obvious as a writer, because I actually get to write my story. I like to start writing my book as soon as possible after I finish the pre-writing phase, because all of the characters, ideas, and subplots are fresh in my mind. I try to start the writing phase within the same week after finishing the pre-writing phase. What works best for me is writing 5 days per week with a word count target. For my dark fantasy book, I knew that I wanted it to be around 450 to 500 pages. That is the book formatting that I chose to publish in, which means my story would have to be between 90,000 and 100,000 words. Remember, page count is arbitrary if you don't know what size and trim your book is going to be once it's published. So setting targets for word count or for scenes is the best way to go when you're writing your story. So to figure out what my word count target is, I do a little math, and for the sake of this example, we're going to use 100,000 words because it's easy. Now, if I'm thinking 60 days or 2 months sounds like a good plan, then that means I would have to write around 1,660 words per day. That would mean I would finish writing my book in 60 days, which is very doable for me. Everyone's ability to reach certain word count targets is going to vary greatly, so just keep that in mind. My sweet spot for daily writing, and keeping in mind that I do have a full-time career outside of writing, is 2,700 to 3,000 words. That would mean I finish the book in 33 to 37 days, which is a little over a month. Depending on my schedule and how crazy those couple of months look, I'll make a decision as to what's the most realistic word count goal for me to meet on a daily basis. Again, this will vary for everyone, but I normally decide on writing 2,300 words per day for 5 days a week. If I write more, then that's great. And if I write less, then it's okay because I can usually catch up pretty quickly. Now, I do write my book in a pre-formatted template from www.diybookformats.com in Word in chronological order. However, just like every writer, there are scenes and chapters that I struggle with. If it's not coming to me, then I simply skip it and move on to the next one. It's very important to be adaptable in your writing process. Remember, you can always change and edit what you write, but you have to actually write it first before you can adjust and edit it to make it even better. I do best in quiet writing spaces like my home office, unless I have my headphones on. Then I can be in a noisy place like a coffee shop, or sometimes in Barnes & Noble it can be noisy, or sitting outside at the mall. I do have a go-to writing playlist on Spotify. If you're interested in checking that out, make sure you look in the description box below. My ideal writing time is between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. since I work during the day, not to mention I tend to be a little more creative at night, and it's a good way to wind down from a long day. Plus, it ensures that every day is a good day because I'm ending it doing something I absolutely love and am super passionate about. So there you have it. That is what my current writing process looks like. If you like the content today, please thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see more videos like this, perhaps on my editing and publishing process, like this video and drop a line in the comments below. Again, this channel is for you guys, so I want to make sure the content I'm putting out there is stuff that you guys want to see. All 3 of my books, The Alpha Drive, The Order of Omega, and Restitution, are available for purchase on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, The Book Depository, and Books A Million. I am also offering signed copies of all 3 books. For more information on how to get your hands on an autographed copy, feel free to click on the link in the description box below. Are you a fan of audiobooks? If so, I have great news for you. I have teamed up with Audible, the premier provider of digital audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from, to give you guys some free stuff. If you go to audibletrial.com/KristenMartinBooks, then you can get a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial for their service. My books are not yet available in audiobook format, but this is something I'm working on for the future. I am still offering first chapter critiques for $65 flat, but I am offering a new service, which are Skype consultations. We can sit down face to face and discuss topics that are specific to your personal situation, ranging from self-publishing to formatting your book and even how to find balance and manage your time better. If you are interested in either of these and want to get more information, head on over to my website at kristenmartinbooks.com and click on the Services Offered tab. BookCon is quickly approaching in New York City this year on June 3rd and June 4th, and I will be there. I will have a booth number 2776 where I'll be selling and signing copies of my books. Just an FYI, you do not have to buy one of my books at BookCon in order for me to sign it. You can bring a copy from home and I will still sign it. I would actually prefer that because that way I won't have to bring as much inventory from Texas to New York. I am so excited for this event and I cannot wait to see you all there. Just in case you missed the price promotion, last week Goodreads is actually hosting a giveaway for one autographed copy of the Alpha Drive. This giveaway will be going on from today, Monday, April 10th, to next Monday, April 17th. This giveaway is valid for the US only. If you're interested in entering, make sure you check out the description box below. And if you're not already following me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, make sure you do that for daily writing inspiration and advice, as well as to stay up to date on any announcements, price promotions, or giveaways that might be going on. If you have any questions or anything you'd like me to talk about in one of my next videos, feel free to leave a comment down below. You can also ask a question or post a comment anonymously on my Ask Me Anything page on Tumblr. Again, all the links are listed below. Thank you so much again for watching. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel on your way out. Don't forget I post new writing advice videos on Mondays and personal day in the life vlogs on Thursdays. I will see you guys next time. Bye.